The following program is a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and are not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elder Answers. This is the show where we get together every week and we discuss the major issues facing seniors in the United States today. Hi, everybody. This is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center, welcoming you to Elder Answers. You know, over and over again, we continue to see a pattern that's emerging, and it's been emerging for the better part of a year now, given the COVID dilemma that we're all facing, the intensity of what's going on, but even more importantly is trying to figure out a way to cope, a way to have some level of understanding about what is going on with regards to these kinds of issues throughout the United States. By that I mean, how do we cope with the different dilemmas that require us to be accessing or giving care to another person who's suffering from some of the maladies that face seniors in the United States? And I got to tell you, the number one dilemma facing families, I can assure you, is the growing number of seniors that are suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's disease. You know, this type of a process takes a toll not only on the individual suffering from the disease, but if they have a spouse sharing the home with them or a beloved one, they're going to be facing some remarkable stressors in their lives they had no idea was coming their way. This also goes for the adult children of the senior who is facing these kinds of issues. They are cast in a role of trying to figure out a way to provide support to protect either their mother, their father, or some family member that they really care for and about. Yet they are challenged with the issue of trying to come up with a solution. They can't drop everything. Okay, they can't give up their lives. They can't walk away from their family, their careers. Where they may be geographically removed from you, they may be living somewhere that's 100 miles away, 200 miles away, 2,000 miles away. And they have no way to be able to communicate effectively with the person that they're trying to protect. And yet everybody is confronted with the same issue. It is the unrelenting desire of every senior in the United States is to be able to stay at home. Seniors do not want to go and live in an institutional environment unless they absolutely have to. Now, that reluctance to utilize institutionalized living patterns is only going to get worse. The reason they can say that with some level of authority is the characteristics of different generations is obvious. You know, let's face it, baby boomers don't go along with going along with. It's just sort of the characteristic of that particular generation. And as a result, they resist, sometimes irrationally, being transferred into a safe environment. Just so you know, if you want to find out, am I a baby boomer? Do I qualify? Well, baby boomers are classified as people who were born on or after July 1, 1946, up through June 30, 1964. If you're born anywhere along that continuum, you are a baby boomer. And what we're seeing now today is a demographic imperative is going along with this attitude. And that demographic imperative is described as every day in the United States, 10,000 people daily turn age 65. They sign up for Medicare every day in the United States. They roll over into a demographic of individuals who are headed towards the need for care. It's not a guess on anybody's part. That isn't a statistic made up on some news show somewhere. That's a reality, and it's a hard fact because they know 70% of those people, 7,000 out of that 10,000, are going to need some kind of long-term care during the course of their lives. And that brings up the question, well, what exactly are you going to do about it? What exactly is your plan? How are you going to deal with the issue of long-term care? And many of you are sitting there listening to this and you're saying to yourself, I got to get around to that. That's something I have to take care of. There's going to come a day I've got to take care of that. And I will. And I mean it. I will. I'm a little busy today. I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to go play pickleball. I'm not even going to get out of this chair for the next 12 hours, but that's not the issue. The issue is I don't really want to deal with it today. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be part of that deal. I just want to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable. Quit nagging me. Quit nagging me about this stuff. And then what ends up happening, I get maybe, I would say 3, sometimes 4 calls a week. 4 calls a week from family members telling me, well, Dad didn't do the paperwork, or the paperwork's so old we can't find it. We don't think there is any paperwork, but we've got to do something. And what said, do you have a durable power of attorney? Do you have a trust? Do you have a will? No, we can't find anything. I don't think he did anything. He didn't like doing stuff like that. Oh boy. So now we're confronted with, we have no authority to help the guy. We have no authority to help this lady. I just got a call from a family. They're trying to take care of the nephew called. It's his mother's sister who is in harm's way. She's really in harm's way. There's not a shred of paper anywhere. They don't know they're going to be able to pay for her care. They don't know where she's going to get care. She went over to the hospital. They're not allowed to get in to see her. And now this family is in total disarray. Now, what's their alternative? Well, they could file for a conservatorship. The conservatorship is a legal process that will be taking them as a family through the court system. And that journey is going to last, a year, somewhere in there. And during that process of time trying to get this done, is somebody better have a checkbook. Now, you can't get to the aunt's checkbook. You have no legal authority to do that. She can't sign checks. So that they're the ones that have to come up with the money. How much? $10,000, $15,000, maybe $20,000 by the time they get done. And so now you're facing a situation of both money and time to avert a disaster. Now, her disease, her dementia, her being out of the realm of reality and needing care is not a tomorrow thing. It is a today thing. You can hear the distress in their voices. You can hear the concern they have to get in control of the situation, to be enabled to take care of the situation, to protect his aunt, to protect her sister, and to avoid them being taken advantage of, because what seems to go along with this process over and over again is somebody else may have or often has already inculcated themselves into the life of the senior, and they are blissfully getting that person to write them checks or to give them the password on their ATM card. And while the senior sits in the car, they go up and get some spending money for them. It's one of those deals, here's 100 for you and 200 for me, and here's 100 for you, and here's 300 for me. And I know you would have given this to me if you could have, if you knew what you were doing, so I just go ahead and take it anyway. And there's not much to be done for it. I know you can file with the police and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, how does that improve your care? That just protects you from a crook. And so the tragedy is that even if you do have a durable power of attorney, you're in for a hell of a fight over at the bank, because the bank doesn't want to honor what is required of them to be honored. And that's a durable power of attorney is duly executed, either witnessed by 2 people or notarized here in the state of California. And from that point forward, you would think they would follow the law as it exists in the probate code. And as you go through the law, when it comes to a durable power of attorney, for those of you who have been struggling with this, the last section of the code regarding durable powers of attorney states that if I'm the agent for my aunt or for my mother or for a loved one, I am entitled to exercise my rights as the agent underneath that durable power of attorney If the bank wants to be exonerated from all liability, all I need to do is present them with a written affidavit signed by me saying that I'm the agent and I take responsibility, and they don't have any legal liability whatsoever. Can you believe that? And they still say no. They still say no. It's hard to figure out where their head is at, except for I think what you're talking about here is they don't trust their own employees. There's a major bank here in this town that actually tells their employees you're not allowed to read the document. What? How do you know the document's no good? How do you know it is good? How do you know what their limitations are? How do you know if there are any limitations unless you read it? Now, if you're not trained to read it, you should be able to give it to somebody. And that's when they start this nonsense about their legal department. They don't have a legal department. There's no legal department. They just have somebody up the chain with a little bit of authority that spent an hour in a training class, apparently, reading these kinds of documents. And generally, you can pretty much be comfortable with the idea they'll say no. Even though there's no requirement, they're going to say, you got to go get 2 doctors to sign off. Now, you try to find 2 doctors and drag somebody around this town to get in front of a doctor that's going to sign that. Half the time, they don't know who their doctor is. Half the time, they don't have a doctor. Or they have so many doctors, you don't know which one to go to. They got a doctor for their elbow. They got a doctor for their knee. They got a doctor for your heart. They got a doctor for your liver. And so the reality of this stuff is life is so much harder for somebody trying to help somebody in the world today, somebody who is incapacitated, especially if it's about dementia or Alzheimer's, because they can't speak for themselves. They can't say, yes, this is my daughter, and yes, she's allowed to do this, and yes, give me that piece of paper, I can sign that. They can't do that. But if they had taken care of business ahead of time, they wouldn't have to worry about that. That would not be something for them to worry about. They would be protected, they would be ready, and their family would be ready to execute the plan that they had put in place.
The cost of long-term care for yourself or a loved one can be financially devastating, but you can avoid going broke. That's how the California Elder Law Center will help you. You can access long-term care benefits through the VA, Medi-Cal, and other sources. But the process of getting those benefits can be daunting. That's where attorney Mick McGuire and the California Elder Law Center come to the rescue. Whether facing a hospital stay, currently in a rehab facility, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, immediate help is available. So now's the time to schedule an appointment for a free consultation. Our office is safe and virus-free. Call 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404. You'll learn so much about how to resolve your elder issues. It goes beyond paying for long-term care. With the help of an attorney at the California Elder Law Center, you can avoid the expense and delays of probate. You can protect your home, your family, and your assets. The system is complicated and frankly not user-friendly. But when you work with an attorney specializing in elder law, it's all so much easier. Call 760-422-0404 for a free meeting in our safe, virus-free office. That's 760-422-0404. Online, search Cal Elder Law. That's Cal Elder Law, helping you get the care you need and deserve. The California Elder Law Center.
This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. You're listening to Elder Answers, and I'm talking about the issue of whether or not you're prepared for what's up ahead. And what's up ahead could best be described as a mess, if you want to know the truth. I get calls all the time now from people who have not prepared adequately for the advent of what's coming. And the reason that they haven't is, there's lots of reasons. They don't want to do it. They don't want to face it. They don't want to get around to it. They think it's too expensive. They think they got some little thing they got put together online, or they got it from somebody off of a TV ad, or somebody that used to be an attorney is working out of their garage, and he says that's good enough, and it's not good enough. As it turns out, it's not good enough in the world we live in today. And so, this process of dealing with somebody with dementia puts a huge demand on everybody else. And I will tell you that you're facing this issue if you're the adult child and you live apart from the Coachella Valley. You live apart from your senior. You live apart from the person who's alone or the person who's the spouse can barely keep up with what's going on. So there's some questions you ought to be asking yourself. There's like a checklist you ought to be going through. It's like, when you're talking about your loved one, I'm not talking about the guy next door or the lady across the street. I'm talking about your mother or your father or your spouse. Do they understand how to leave the home if it's necessary? Now think about the reasons why you need to be really, really on top of this thing because of the emergencies that can arise. Do they know to leave the home if it's necessary? Do they know where the door is located, or do they know the exit of the building? Think about that. Will they stay home or will they stay near the house? Will they wander off? Oh, can this be a problem? We had a lady that the daughter and she lived together, and the daughter was taking care of her mother, and the mother stepped out the back door in the morning and she was making coffee, and the daughter came around a corner. The kitchen door to outside was open. Mother was gone. It took 4 hours to find her. They found her all right. The sheriffs found her laying in a ditch with a shattered shoulder broken in 5 places in her nightgown. You know, it's a tragedy of what happens. It's even bigger tragedy of what happens afterwards. So being prepared for this kind of stuff is really important. If they do go outside, do they know where they live? Do they know how to get back inside the building? Do they know what their address is? Can they identify signals such as a smoke from a kitchen or fire alarms that would alert them to potential dangers? Do they know how to access emergency services? Now, this is a big one. Do they know if they're there alone or you had to step out or you're next door talking to somebody? Do they know how to dial 911? Would they be able to communicate over the phone? Can they physically get to the phone no matter where they are? Are they bedridden? Do they have a frequent life-threatening medical emergencies that require immediate intervention? Think about that now. What's going on there medically? Do they know where their medication is that they may need it to be located? Can they reach it? Do they have the capacity to select the right medicines in the correct amounts? That's what those little pill box things that say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are all about. Sometimes they should also say Monday, morning, afternoon, evening. Do they have the judgment to identify who they should or should not let in the home? Oh, man, can that be a big one? Will they know how to allow family and friends and emergency personnel into the home? Have they reached the point where they don't recognize the grandkids or something like that? You got to deal with those issues. Can they prepare something for themselves to eat if they get hungry? Do they know how to use the stove? And most importantly, will they know how to turn it off when they're done using the stove? You don't want to know those stories. Can they get to the bathroom and use the toilet on their own? Now, if you want to think of one thing that maybe debilitates caregiving spouses or people that are trying to take care of them more than anything, that may be it. Are they afraid to be alone for an hour or more? Do they become anxious? Do they become frightened? Are they clingy when caregivers depart? Are they making frequent phone calls if they're alone? In other words, are they dealing with these different issues to some extent, or you can see it coming? These are issues that you're talking about maybe when you talk to your son or your daughter who doesn't live here, but you're the one that's stuck trying to take care of this stuff. Is this the way you go to the neurologist and you say what's going on, you explain to them, and they just sort of nod their head because in all honesty, what are they going to do? They may be able to recommend a pill for this and a pill for that, but is that going to take care of your problem? And if you're trying to get something done and they tell you, well, he has to come into the branch and sign, how are you going to do that if you're dealing with all these other issues, all these different struggles? And so you want to have all the tools in your toolbox ready to go long before you're confronted with these kinds of disastrous issues. This will take it out of you. This will exhaust you. This will set your emotional house on fire. And now we're going to be dealing with 2 seniors who have got a problem, not just one. And think about what that does to your family, to your son, your daughter living in another state or in another city. So are there solutions to these kinds of things? Yes. yes, is it a good idea to wait until it's a disaster to deal with it? Here's the issue that is sort of amazing about this process. It's not like you don't know about it. It's not like you haven't been thinking about it. It's not like you're not worried sick and at 3 o'clock in the morning you wake up staring at the ceiling wide awake because you're haunted by it. It's because you're struggling with the issue of what do I do and when do I do it? Well, the reason you're stuck trying to deal with this stuff, that you're so uncomfortable that you can't sit and watch a television show that little movie's not playing in the back of your head about these kinds of issues, distracting you. You can't read a book when your mind drifts off to this kind of stuff is haunting you. The reason that you're going through all that is because you don't know where to turn for information. You don't know where to turn to see, is there a solution? What is the solution? Or you're frightened that the solution is going to be so onerous you don't want to hear what it is. You don't want to deal with it. Well, it's like any other thing. It's not going to go away. It's like most things that deal with these kinds of issues. It's only going to get worse. I guess you could hang out and hope for a cure, and that's just not going to happen in our lifetimes. And here's the other part that you should be really cognizant of. Every day there's 10,000 of these people are turning 65. Every day it's a bigger and bigger cohort. Over the next 10 years, you're talking about 36 million people are going to join the ranks of seniors. You don't think that's going to put some stress on the system? You don't think the system is going to start buckling at the seams and starting to leak? I guarantee you it is. And the ones who have taken cautious, prudent steps to protect themselves are the ones that will prevail. They're the ones that are going to be okay. They're the ones that are going to come out on top. For those that have waited, that have not taken any steps, that have just gone along with going along, they're the ones that are going to get hammered. That's exactly what's going to happen. They are going to get hammered. And it's very unfortunate because their issues are not one less iota of concern to them and their family than the other person is. But here's the difference. The other person took some steps. The other person actually got active and addressed the issues and did something about it. Like what? Well, first of all, they got information. That's the key to you having a solution to the issues surrounding maybe something like Alzheimer's disease or dementia or Parkinson's disease or Lewy body disease. They took steps early. You have to applaud them for sitting down, putting something together so that they were prepared to be able to protect first themselves and then their family, not be a burden on them. So what that means is if they've taken those kinds of steps and they prepared themselves, that they are probably going to be able to stay at home. Now that means they may have to adjust different issues within their lives, their investments, their legal authorities, who's going to take care of business for them. Really what it means is they need to have answers to a couple of questions. And those two questions that come up over and over again and absolutely must be addressed is who is going to take care of me and how am I going to pay for my care? And if you are not able to immediately respond with an answer to those two issues that button that issue down, and you're convinced it's already been taken care of, you need to spend some time to educate yourself to what your choices are. Do you have the resources to actually function in that world? Are you going to be able to be empowered to do the things that are necessary? I must tell you that this past year has generated lots of stories of people that are trapped and have been imprisoned in facilities with all good intentions, but their spouse of 50 years is on the other side of that door and has now died. They weren't there with them. They didn't know what their rights were. They weren't able to hold their hand. They couldn't have brushed the hair from their eyes and comforted them in their last moments on this earth. No, that person died alone, and their spouse died a little bit on the inside, standing on the other side of the door. And yet, if you had addressed some of these issues, if you had empowered yourselves to take care of each other, if you have empowered other members of your family, if that's who's going to do it. And for those of you that don't have kids and you don't have an extended family, maybe you don't have a spouse, what exactly are you planning on doing? How are you going to be protected? Who is going to step up and take care of you? Taking care of you starts off, and it's a long-term proposition, isn't it? Because every day your situation may be changing. If you're alone in this world, and there's so many of you that are, there's so many of you that need somebody you can count on to be there for you. If that's the case, then you need to give some thought to how you're going to handle these issues so that you get the quality of the care you need and deserve, and you don't go broke doing it.
The cost of long-term care for yourself or a loved one can be financially devastating, but you can avoid going broke. That's how the California Elder Law Center will help you. You can access long-term care benefits through the VA, Medi-Cal, and other sources. But the process of getting those benefits can be daunting. That's where attorney Mick McGuire and the California Elder Law Center come to the rescue. Whether facing a hospital stay, currently in a rehab facility, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, immediate help is available. So now's the time to schedule an appointment for a free consultation. Our office is safe and virus-free. Call 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404. You'll learn so much about how to resolve your elder issues. It goes beyond paying for long-term care. With the help of an attorney at the California Elder Law Center, you can avoid the expense and delays of probate. You can protect your home, your family, and your assets. The system is complicated and frankly not user-friendly. But when you work with an attorney specializing in elder law, it's all so much easier. Call 760-422-0404 for a free meeting in our safe, virus-free office. That's 760-422-0404. Online, search Cal Elder Law. That's Cal Elder Law, helping you get the care you need and deserve. The California Elder Law Center.
So this is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. And what are we talking about? We're talking about how do you cope with an individual, a loved one in your family, who's suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's disease. What do you do? Somebody who has Parkinson's disease, what do you do? If they have Lewy body disease or frontal temporal disease, or they have the early stages of it, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to make this work, because everybody is confronted with the reality that when you ask them what's important to them, they all have the same three responses in the exact same order. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Is that everybody says, I want to stay in my home. I want to stay right here. This is my recliner. That's my cat. This is my remote. Get away from me. And yet we know 70%, 7 out of 10 of Americans do not die in their home. They do not die peacefully in their bed. They die in an institution somewhere staring at the ceiling and fluorescent bulbs. They die with noise out in the hall or monitors in the room or strangers they've never seen before in their life walking in and walking out of them saying, how are you doing, honey? As you're laying there on your deathbed. That's not what you want. That's not what you said you want. And yet that's what you're going to get because you didn't take care of the planning part to avoid that. That's the problem. What's the second thing everybody says that's so important to them? Universally, not some people, not a few people, everybody. Is, I don't want to go broke. I don't want to end up being broke. I don't want to pull the wrong disease card out of the deck and use up all the money and leave my spouse as a pauper, as a bag lady. I don't want to do that. And yet they haven't done anything about addressing the costs of care. They haven't done anything on how to mitigate that or how to access public benefits or what's required of them to be sure that, for instance, if a person goes into a nursing home, if somebody's in a nursing home, it costs about $350 a day to be there. The average cost is about $10,298 a month to be in a nursing home in California. That's just in a nursing home. That's not rehab. Rehab's far more expensive than that. But Medicare will pay for your rehab, but when they switch you over to convalescent care, you have to sit down and write a check. You need to come up with a check. Or you need to learn about the Medi-Cal program that was designed to protect you from a financial disaster if you are in a nursing home. You need to know that so that you're prepared and your spouse is prepared and your children know what their roles are and what their responsibilities are. Or if you don't have any family, if you don't have a spouse, you don't have children, you need to seek alternatives that are going to protect you and take care of you. And they are available to you. They don't cost an arm and a leg. In fact, they're shockingly inexpensive compared to what you're going to be getting in the way of services, but you don't even know about them. And so that's your dilemma, isn't it? That's your dilemma as far as having the quality of care that you need and who's going to take care of it for you. Now, over and over again, we see this pattern keeps on emerging. And the biggest impediment to it is if you wait and you're counting on the documents to work and you have documents that got done in somebody's garage somewhere, or if they were done by somebody main selling point as far as not the quality of what work they do, but the fact that you don't have to pay an attorney to get their stuff done, which reflects the cost. You get what you pay for in this world. You knew that your entire life. You get exactly what you pay for. Or you went online to do it yourself, and it turned out that this is all wrong. There was nobody there to help me. Or if they were, they just talked so damn fast, they were off the phone, and I was out in the cold, and I'm standing here getting charges on my credit card. I don't even know what happened. I didn't even understand a word the guy said, or the lady said. But if you want somebody to come into your home, you should be asking them some questions. How do you know which questions to ask? How do you know which company to use? How do you know who this person is coming into your home? Well, the agency that you're looking for needs to provide the type of services and caregivers that are needed now and offer services that might be needed later on. You know, if I just need somebody to help me to maybe straighten up a little bit, that's different than if I have full-blown Alzheimer's and I need that level of care. An initial assessment is performed by these people, by a health professional such as a nurse or a social worker at the time and locations convenient for the patient and the family. These are the kinds of things that you should be thinking about and doing if you're going to have somebody coming into your home. The agency can help with arrangements for necessary supplies and equipment at home. Can they do that? Home modifications, other community resources, such as Meals on Wheels, transportation, adult daycare. They know about that. They're going to help you with it. Or they just look at you like you hit them in the head with a snow shovel. Families are encouraged to participate with developing the plan of care and need ongoing changes. They just come in and say, okay, this is what we'll do, and she'll see you in the morning. You need a written plan. Let me see it in writing of what the care is going to be and when it's going to be provided. Verbal and written information about the cost of services and the billing procedures. I want to know everything before I sign anything. Caregivers work directly for the agency. It's not like farming them out and whoever they found last week that was willing to answer the call. You know, this is a big issue now. Who are these people, and are they being trained, and is the company providing these services responsible for it? The agency is going to take care of all the proper employment tax and withholding and all those kind of things. I don't need to worry about it. The staff is licensed and bonded. The caregivers are subjected to a background checks and routine drug testing. All of it. I want all of it. I want somebody who does this kind of stuff for a living to step in here and sort of captain my way through this. Now, if my kids aren't around to do all this, or they have no experience with this, they're no help either. Not yet. Now, they can handle other issues, but not this. And so these companies need to be vetted, and I need to know who I'm doing business with. Or if an emergency has arisen and I can't do it, who can? Well, my recommendation for you is to have somebody that does geriatric management, a geriatric manager that oversees everything that's going on in your home or wherever your home turns out to be. Somebody who is a guide, somebody who understands the medical side of your care and needs, and somebody who understands the financial side. Or somebody who works in conjunction with the people who do know about the financial side and the legal side. My situation was my mother was located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My sister was in Phoenix. I was in Long Beach. And when she needed care, I called a colleague, and his sister was a geriatric care nurse, and she was able to take over management of the program. She selected the rehab unit that my mother went from the hospital to rehab. She chose it, and it wasn't the one the hospital wanted to send her to. She picked out the assisted living facility that was appropriate for my mother, both in terms of location, cost, and amenities, and it was a beautiful place. And then during the course of her stay there, she met with her on a regular basis. She became her eyes and ears 2,400 miles away, so that we knew what was going on a monthly basis, first weekly, then monthly. And by that time, we were in a situation in which we had somebody on the ground back there to keep an eye on things for us. And so that's how you increase the quality of the care and stay within a budget. But you have to know, who do I talk to? How much does it cost? Where is that money going to come from? Now, you want to pull together public resources. If it was a nursing home, you're going to be looking to Medi-Cal. I want Medi-Cal, and Medi-Cal is a catastrophic illness program, and they can pay for that. If it's $10,298 a month on average, it would be great to know that you could reach out and have that program available to your family, your loved ones, yourself, without impacting the quality of your care one iota. And in fact, the idea is that if we can protect your savings, protect your assets, and still access that program, which we can, if you can keep your house free of a lien and free of having to be sold, which we can, then those funds can be used to enhance the quality of your care, to give you personal care, to take you outside for a little sunshine and fresh air. All these things entail planning. 90% of it is just getting yourself educated to it. 90% of it really is being empowered to take over for somebody else in the event of an emergency, and knowing who to call, how to set it up, what to do. Now, getting somebody like a nurse practitioner to take over geriatric care management for you is an ideal thing to start way before you're at the threshold of a nursing home, because the point is to keep you out of the place. If we can keep you out of the nursing home, you're going to get better care. You're going to thrive, but only if you're getting quality care in your home. And maybe there will come a day that the best environment for you might be independent living. There's some beautiful ones. Maybe it's necessary to choose a memory care unit or a board and care, perhaps. And there are experts that you can trust that have integrity and have knowledge and information and know how to tailor the facility to the needs of you or your loved one, that we can reach out to and say, can you take over and sit down with this family and consider that this is the parameters for their mother. These are the parameters for their father. This is my husband. This is my wife. What can I do about this? Because I can't do it here at home anymore. I can't. But that's okay. We can come up with a solution to this. There is a solution to quality of care. And it is so much better if everybody that comprises your team is aware what is required of them and what to do, who to call, and when. And if you don't have that family team, then you can create a safety net around yourself that's ready to respond. And over again, the response I hear is, well, when the time comes, I will. And when the time comes, you'll be waving at the train as it slowly pulls out of the station of life. What a shame, because a little bit of planning, a little bit of information, you could have been on that train. You could have had a window seat. You could have had a journey that was so much better if you had only taken the time and the energy to think about it and to set something up and to empower the people that you trust to take care of you. That requires you to get comfortable with what you want, and then for you to do something about it.
The cost of long-term care for yourself or a loved one can be financially devastating, but you can avoid going broke. That's how the California Elder Law Center will help you. You can access long-term care benefits through the VA, Medi-Cal, and other sources. But the process of getting those benefits can be daunting. That's where attorney Mick McGuire and the California Elder Law Center come to the rescue. Whether facing a hospital stay, currently in a rehab facility, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, immediate help is available. So now's the time to schedule an appointment for a free consultation. Our office is safe and virus-free. Call 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404. You'll learn so much about how to resolve your elder issues. It goes beyond paying for long-term care. With the help of an attorney at the California Elder Law Center, you can avoid the expense and delays of probate. You can protect your home, your family, and your assets. The system is complicated and frankly not user-friendly. But when you work with an attorney specializing in elder law, it's all so much easier. Call 760-422-0404 for a free meeting in our safe, virus-free office. That's 760-422-0404. Online, search Cal Elder Law. That's Cal Elder Law, helping you get the care you need and deserve. The California Elder Law Center.
This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. We're talking about if you're dealing with somebody who's early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or Lewy body disease, whatever's going on, it's time to do something yesterday. The first thing you can do that you can really impact the situation is make sure you have the complete authority vested both in yourself, your spouse, your loved ones, your family, your kids, to make sure that everybody is in a position to be able to protect you, to take care of business, to get to the bank and take care of all that stuff, and that the bank knows what they're doing. And now's the time to take the documents over there and say, I want you to review this stuff. I don't want to do this in crisis. And to make some decisions about who's going to do what and where, and all focused on your care and how do I stay at home and who's going to take care of me. And this is how we're going to pay for it. And this is who you call, and this is what you do. One of the advents of this process has always been the way we used to do business has changed. And I mean it has changed. Now, we used to sit on this radio show and offer you the opportunity to come to a free workshop. Well, we can't do workshops, can we? We can't do those now. Now, more and more people, however, over the course of this last year have developed the ability to understand how to use Zoom. And for those people, and really all you need to do is click on a button, actually. And for families that want to do a Zoom consultation, we do that for them. And it gives us an opportunity, and I like it particularly because the adult children can participate in this process because A, they're responsible to actually execute the plan someday, and B, they know who to call and what to do and what comes next. They're ready to go. They're experienced in the process. They understand what's going on. And that works great for families that have kids that are engaged in protecting their mother or their father or both. Now, to set up a consultation like that, you have to pick up the phone. I know, this is a real biggie. You have to pick up the phone and call and make an appointment for a consultation. 760-422-0404. 422-0404. When you do that, either somebody will answer right away or will get back to you right away. Here's what you want to do. You'll want to tell them what your name is and spell it slowly. And you want to give them your phone number clearly, and then repeat your phone number slowly so that we can get a good handle on who to call where. And then you can arrange for a consultation for yourself, for you and your spouse, for your loved ones, for whoever's going to take care of you, for your kids can participate. And then that way, everybody starts off on the same page. You're not trying to explain to them what you did. It's already a done deal. And that is a tremendous relief for you, but it's an even bigger relief for the kids that you're counting on to take care of that kind of a situation. We had a situation here not so long ago that a husband and a wife, and he passed away, and she's by herself, and she's quite concerned. And so The solution is for us to get on the phone with a Zoom with the son and explain to him what was really going on. And it relieved her of all the anxiety, and he was eternally grateful to understand what it was expected of him. And while we were talking to him, he started talking about his mother-in-law having an issue and how he could address that issue. So this is universal stuff. It could be a neighbor, it could be an in-law, it could be your parents, it could be your husband, it could be your wife, it could be your neighbor. So you can help each other, but you have to have information. The only way to get information is to get the right information that's accurate, up to date, and complete. 760-422-0404. 422-0404. And yes, our office is senior safe. Our office has been COVID safe for a year. We do have a plastic screen between ourselves and our staff, you and our staff. We do have an air filter, a high quality air filter in the room. Everything has been sanitized before you come in. Everything gets sanitized after you leave. And to that extent, we've exercised all the safety precautions that are necessary. Everybody on our side is vaccinated. We're hoping that everybody on your side is as well. 760-422-0404. And that becomes your first step, just like the workshops used to be the first step in coming to some kind of an understanding of what the process is. And the way to do that was to educate you. To take these arcane tasks and terminology and turn it into everyday reality. Listen, it's not a question of you have to be a law school graduate to understand this stuff. If you just take the time to slow it down a little bit, answer a question here and there, I'll get it. I raised a family. I bought a house. I had a job. I had a business. I'm okay. I just don't know that vocabulary. Can you help me with that? And the answer is you bet. So if you do call 760-422-0404 and you do make an appointment, what should you expect? Well, you're going to bring in, if you have old documents already, fine. If you don't, and in either case, we're going to send you an intake form. We want some information from you before we start the consultation with you. We want you to fill that form out and return it to us ahead of time so we can take a look at it, so we know what the parameters of the issues are, because we can spot the issues. We've only been doing it for 26 years. I got a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. And I will make your time far more valuable than if we had to start all over from scratch and fill it out again. We would spend all the time just filling in the form. And this gives you the opportunity to do it at your leisure, a little bit at a time, whatever you want to do. You want to look up the kids' birthdays? I know, dads. I know you don't know those birthdays. I know that. I've been doing this for a while. You may know the date, but you can't remember the year. I know. I know. 760-422-0404. We'll make the arrangements. And so let's start the ball rolling. If no other reason, get the information that you need so that you can make a decent decision, both for you and your loved ones, so that you can stay at home because you've planned for it. And we've got resources to help you do that. That you don't have to go broke, because you can reach out, if you're a veteran, to the Veterans Administration. You could get $2,200 a month tax-free money to help pay for your stay at home. Or if you have a loved one who's already in a board and care or an assisted living or a memory care, you've got money coming to you if they are a veteran. If they are a veteran. And so you've got to know what those rules are. Medi-Cal, you don't have to be afraid or terrified you're going to be destroyed financially if you go into a nursing home and you got to come up with $120,000 a year. You can access Medi-Cal. It's just a question of pulling the information together and seeing how the rules apply to you. 760-422-0404. We can arrange a Zoom meeting. If you can get your kids to participate, that's even better. The more the merrier. We're counting on them to do work for you when the time comes. And so the first step is I want to stay at home. Well, let's figure out how that works. The second step is I don't want to go broke. Well, that means you're going to have to get some support and how you got to use every dime judiciously. And the third step is I don't want to be a burden on my kids. And that means that you're going to have to do some elbow work, a little elbow grease, and address these issues ahead of time so that you don't deliver these problems in crisis to your kids. Do it now so that you, A, get a better outcome, guaranteed, and B, because you don't make them do this all on the fly during a crisis, which is their personal nightmare. 760-422-0404. We've been doing this for 26 years. VA, Medi-Cal, estate planning, making sure we got special needs trust for kids if that's necessary, protecting grandchildren in case, God forbid, one of your children predeceases you, all the different kind of issues that go into answering the questions of what happens when I die. Avoid probate. Make sure you don't pay any taxes you don't need to pay. Make sure you protect everybody in your family. Elder law answers a different question. What happens if I live? What happens if I live? How am I going to pay for my care and who's going to take care of me? How do I make sure there's a way, if it's safe, that I can stay in my home? Or if I do need to use a facility, it's the right one for me. That I'll be taken care of, that I'll be safe. That somebody's keeping an eye on me, somebody knows who I am. Somebody who protects me from a medical system that is so huge and sometimes so indifferent. I'm left standing out in the sidewalk and I can't remember what the person said. How do I protect myself from that? How do I do it if my kids live 500 miles away? How do I do it if I don't have any kids? How do I do it if we have two people that have been in a relationship or only been married a short time, even though they're in their 80s? And they need to know that they're going to be able to care for each other. How do we know what the rules are? How do we know that the bank and the financial advisor know what's going on? How do we know all that stuff? So those are not the kinds of things we worry about. What we worry about is the joy of our lives, that we're comfortable, that we're safe, that somebody has taken over the mantle of caring for us if it's necessary, or that the funding for our care is going to be the best that we can come up with and is satisfactory. 760-422-0404. Arrange for a consultation. Find out where you stand in this process, what you need to do to make sure if the scourge of dementia or Alzheimer's visits you or your loved one, so that you're safe, so that you're sound, so that you're cared for. This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center saying thank you for joining us, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.
The preceding program was a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
A child struggling to speak. It's often a developmental disability that can leave a child frustrated and isolated. Life-changing treatment by professional speech therapists is available at no cost to the family. It's at the Stan and Bobby Gold Right Care Childhood Language Center in Palm Desert. We need your donation. On your phone or computer, search Gold Right Care. That's Gold, R-I-T-E, Care. From the Palm Springs Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Give a child the gift of speech.